What's going on, everybody? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel and to the post-stream vlog recap for Rift Prime week number 2, leveling stream number 2, where I play as my brand new cleric class. Yay! So let's talk about the week that I've had on Rift Prime. To be very honest, over the past 7 days, besides re-rolling from my warrior to my cleric because I can't create a new toon, yes, that's right, Rift Prime only allows you to have 2 characters maximum. You can only have 1 character. I mean, if you plan to play on 2 factions, you can only have 1 guardian and 1 defiant. You cannot have more than 2 characters on Rift Prime. And I did some research into this, why Tryon decided to make it that way. It was for in-game economy reasons. They didn't want players to create an army of alts to be self-sufficient when it comes to crafting, apparently. So it forces everybody to be a bit more social in terms of taking advantage of the auction house and the marketplace and interacting and being in guilds and making use of, you know, crafters, helping crafters kind of deal. That's the main reason why they only allow for 2 character slots on the Prime server. For me, that sucks. I don't like that. I can understand why for the economy reasons, but as somebody who wants to try out all the different classes, that kind of sucks. So if you get to like level 40 on a character and you hate it, you have to re-roll. There's no such thing as buying another character slot, or, you know, you're too far in, you have to stick with it. Anyway, I re-rolled into my cleric, and Monday, Tuesday was me just playing, catching up into where I stopped with my warrior, and I got into like level 15, and that was it. You know, just learning the cleric in and out. I picked the suggested tanking build on the character creator, and that actually went pretty well. I was doing more damage. I had more hots. I had more. I forgot what the name of the soul was, but you know, where you have this building and spanning mechanic in addition to your long range pulls and your hots, which I found really fun for leveling. I also got the healing soul. I bought a new role for that, and then for the stream on Sunday, I bought a 3rd role for DPS. So I'm really enjoying the cleric's playstyle. It's very similar to the archetype that I usually enjoy in my MMORPGs: Paladin, Templar, you know, Lotor's Captain, that kind of thing. So I really like playing as the cleric. Besides that, it didn't really do too much during the week all the way up to the stream because I was leveling, I was playing through Secret World Legends new expansion Dawn of the Morning Light, so did not have time for Rift Prime in the past week. So let's talk about what happened in the stream. It was one of those things where I said I was going to do dungeons and PvP, and that's exactly what I did, and I had some fun in that, I gotta be honest. First things first, let's talk about Warfronts this past week. On Tuesday, I did jump into Warfronts as my Defiant Rogue, and then on the stream I jumped in as my Cleric. Look, from a class point of view, very early on, I think it's fair to say that when it comes to PvP Warfronts in Rift, there are preferred classes. Some classes perform better than others. Rogues, for example, in a certain soul build, it's not as popular as perhaps mages or warriors or clerics in a certain role. So there's cookie cutter builds when it comes to PvP based on what I've read on Reddit and their forums. So for me, jumping in as a rogue wasn't as fun as jumping in as a cleric, which I did on Sunday night stream. So I went into a Warfront, which is what they call their arena PvPs. It's, what is it, a 6v6? 10v10? I can't remember. I wasn't even paying attention because I was having so much fun in that. So I went into my healing build as my cleric, and yeah, pretty much fast pace, 500 points, you know, that's the goal for each team to reach. And the Black Garden was the first PvP Warfront available for you know, low level players, and it's all about the relic. The team, one player in the team picks up the relic, and then the points start ticking upwards, and it's all about a tug of war, you know, which team can hold the relic for the longest time. If it falls down, then, you know, it's scrambled to try and pick it up, and everybody's interrupting each other by attacks to, you know, prevent them from picking up the relic. And if that happens for long enough, the relic goes back to the neutral position, which is in the middle of the map, and it's a scramble to go pick it up there. So when it comes to mechanics for the PvP Warfront, it is the first Warfront that I'm exposed to, and I'm sure there's going to be others later on introduced with different mechanics. But from the Black Garden perspective, very basic in terms of mechanics. I mean, to a point where it got a little boring because it's all about defending once you get the relic, and then the size of the map is small. There's trees on the map that people just run around in circles. You know, it's a fairly predictable playstyle in terms of a PvP map. And although the adrenaline you get from the rush you get from being in a PvP map is there, I just can't wait to see what the next map is going to be, because Black Garden is just the potential is there to be fun, but doing that over and over, I can just see it being tiring, and it's just not, simply because of how small that map is and the trees being in there and everything. It's just not I can see it getting boring after a while, as I said. But otherwise, being in there as a healing cleric was really fun. That made me use a lot of my healing skills, taught me a lot about how to play a healer, or what my skills do when it comes to the build that I have, being single target and everything. And I had some fun, really did. And on the stream, you know, the match ended in a win, and I played a key role in that, you know, holding the relic until the very end, just trying to stay alive. That was pretty fun. Next thing we did on the stream was the first dungeon on the Guardian side, which is the Realm of the Fae. I hope I'm getting the name right, but that's my first dungeon ever on Guardian side, because when I played Rift way back, I played on the Defiant side, so I do remember what the first Defiant dungeon was, but I've never tried Realm of the Fae. So jumped in there on my cleric as well, and this time I made stream history here on my channel, because all the leveling streams that I've done in the past for all the MMOs that I've played and reviewed here on the channel live, I've always played it safe. I've always jumped in as a DPS character. Tonight, for the first time ever, I jumped in as a healer on my cleric. Just because. Why the hell not, right? And man, the stress and tension I was in, if you watch the stream again, it's like, oh my god, I was really struggling. I was so worried because I've never done the dungeon before. I don't know the mechanics of the dungeon, and I did tell my party, you know, hey, it's my first time through, be gentle and everything. And to be fair, it went decent. I mean, the group wiped one time, but that's, I think, down to the tank who overpulled, and I couldn't keep up with the healing, and he did apologize for that, so no one's blaming me, which is a good thing because he was alive and everything. But it was really fun for me. I mean, healing as a cleric in there, because one of the souls, the soul that I traded up in is primarily single target, and I missed the opportunity to check out what the AoE heals and all were like, so that's somewhere I can branch out and check out later on for group content. Now, in terms of the dungeons itself, like I said on the first week, I think, like, I know Rift dungeons are pretty long, and that's exactly the case. You know, it's refreshing in a way that it's not a walk in the park like other dungeons are. Like, I can throw in some names in there, like let's say Neverwinter, for example, right? Neverwinter's dungeons, man, you can complete it in 5 minutes and done, because of how that game pulls in all the level 70s to scale down and do it for you, and it's just, it becomes, you know, it's not fun. Whereas in Rift, you know, it's, everything is on level, even though the minimum level for Realm of the Fae is level 15, it goes up until 22, so you may have some level 22s in there, so the level range is, you know, is decent somewhat, but the difficulty is there. It is difficult. I don't care, you know, how geared you are or whatever. If you get the mechanics wrong, or if you overpull, or if you're a DPS and you're hitting something that you're not supposed to, and if the tank doesn't take aggro, things can go very wrong. And it, you know, I like that it make me appreciate a proper group dynamic in terms of having the Trinity, having a proper tank, having a proper healer, having all the DPS do their part, which is why I say Rift is one of the last bastions of classic MMORPGs to do this, because in today's modern day MMORPGs, that doesn't really factor in anymore. You can just go in as whatever you want and make it work, you know? And the fact that, you know, within 10 minutes you're done. Rift's first dungeon, at least for me live on stream, it's not the case, you know? You got to take your time. There's lots of trash mobs, lots of trash pools, and I kind of enjoyed that, because it did take me way back to when I first started playing MMOs. It did have that vibe about it, and that was really fun. I just wish that, you know, thinking about it now, if I hadn't played a healer, I probably would have enjoyed the dungeon more, because I got to see more of the storytelling, the design. But because I picked a healer, I was so under pressure and under the stress that I wasn't able to focus on anything else really. I was just focused on keeping my team alive, so that was probably a mistake. But bottom line is I had fun in my first dungeon, and from what people are telling me that, you know, the higher dungeons, the other dungeons to come are going to be more difficult. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's not often an MMORPG will throw you a dungeon that's going to be challenging. Like even some of the big games out there, the massive MMOs, their dungeons in the early levels are all a walk in the park. Like it doesn't matter what you jump in as and what gear you're wearing. Over here in Rift, I kind of get the feeling that that matters, and that is something that I actually like because it's refreshing for me. So that's that. Rest of the stream was just me waiting in queues, trying to get a second PvP match to pop. And it did another like map meta event with the world boss and everything, and I'm still stuck in the first zone. That's the key thing to note here. I haven't really progressed that far. But my takeaway from that is, even though it is like, we're coming up to about a month now since Rift Prime launched, the starter zones are still populated, you know? Guardian side, Defiant side, there's still people running in early levels. Even though they're level 30 or 40 or whatever, they come down to these zones, and they do get scaled down as well, or they mentor down a level, which is a useful feature for Rift. And they do take part in all the zone events because, you know, it's a way for you to earn all those currency, in addition to getting the notoriety, which is reputations for the various different you know, factions out there if you want to use their vendors and stuff like that. So that gives the game some life. It gives the game a sense of there's population here, there's people playing it, which is a positive thing for Rift, and it's nice seeing that. Now, on my Defiant character, he's level 24, going on 25, 26 now. In those zones, it's not as populated as the early zones, and I think the reason for that is because majority of the player base have already moved on way past level 40, way past level 50, and then there's not going to be a lot of players in the in-between zones or levels between 30 to 35 and 40, I think. So at the early starting areas between 1 to 20, and then at 50s where the majority of the player base is going to be at. So I'm looking forward in the next couple of weeks just to make my way up so I can show off more of the game before the review comes out. And that's basically it, guys, for Rift Prime week number 2. Hope you guys had fun watching the Tuesday, you know, Twitch stream, which I did for Defiant side, and then Sunday tonight was for the Guardian side. Hope you guys had fun, yeah, I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next weekend's leveling stream number 3, and hopefully we will be at a more fun and interesting place with lots more to show off. So that's it from me. Hit the like button if you will like Rift, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate it. You'll get to see all kinds of MMO content, discussion videos, more live streams, more MMO reviews. I thank you for that support. So once again, Adrian here, thanking you for watching. Later, guys. Roses are red, violets are blue. If you want to watch more videos, click on these cards. Anyone would do. And if you want to watch more videos, subscribe to the channel with the button down here. I know you want to.